Before the presentation, let's have a look on a short video. This reminds us that I gotta tell you about the food chains in our ecosystem. Food chains is a single path, which also helps us work out who eats whom in the habitat in order to get the energy and materials required for nutrition. Ultimately, the sun is the initial source of energy for nearly all living things. The food chains begin with an organism that can utilize this energy directly to make its own food. The arrow in the food chain follow the flow of energy, so they always go from the food and point to the feeder. For example, the grass uses energy from the sun. Rabbit eats the grass. A fox then eats the rabbit. Think of it as the food's journey into the mouth of the next organism. The chain always ends with a top predator, which is not preyed upon by other organisms, but will be consumed by decomposers after that. Decomposers such as fungi and bacteria play important roles in the food chain, which break down dead organisms. See here, when the snake dies, its body is decomposed and it turns into nutrients, and these are again used by plants. In a food chain, each organism occupies a different trophic level, defined by how many energy transfers separate from the basic input of a chain. Producers or autotrophs make their own organic molecules. Consumers or heterotrophs get organic molecules by eating other organisms. There are great many feeding relationships in any ecosystem, but energy always flows from primary producers to various consumers.
The food chains we saw, which is of one producer and one primary and secondary consumers, are called simple food chain. When you consider all the food chains inhabited and join all of them together to get a food web, the diagram of the interconnections between lots of organism populations are interdependent on each other, and you will notice that some organisms have more than one predator while others don't. This means that when a food web is altered, it has different effects from different populations. If one species goes extinct, it can affect the entire system with unpredictable results. So let's take the food web of wetland environments as an example. More specific here is at Bonnet Point Reserve. This food web is the combination of 9 different food chains, so we can start to see how the species are interdependent on one another. So what happens if we remove one species from the food chain? Perhaps if it went extinct. Well, to figure it out, we have to look at the whole food web. If we remove the fish, then the seabirds would have to eat more soldier crabs, and so their population would decline. Maybe even go extinct too. This then has a knock-on effect on all the species that feed on prawns. However, some population sizes will increase if there are less individuals eating the seagrass or algae. Then their population will increase, which provides more food for the seabirds. Lastly, human is the dominant consumer. Let's have a look how human activities have affected the ecosystem within this area. Due to the construction and long-term operation of Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport, the amount of noise pollution has occurred, which disrupts the nesting of the birds, in which the result is higher order of animals will have more toxins in their tissue, and for long term, most animals will be no longer alive since the water is the main habitat for mostly all creatures in this area.